So I can sit here. Shall I just... Oh yeah, sorry. Right. How's that?
It's all right. I'm happy.
Yeah, and then I'll be there.
Yeah, we can see you.
Yeah, just a bit. Just a little light, isn't it? It's just a bit. It's weird when YouTubers, they don't really look at each other, do they? When they're having a conversation, they're both looking like that, and you can't really see.
It's all right.
But it's fine. It's just a bit unnatural, isn't it, to have a conversation where you don't look at the person.
Can you see people watching every time?
No, hang on. We can't see any people, but they will. Shit. There will be a link there when it's finished, isn't there?
Yeah. Oh, I think maybe on the little person. I think there's like how many people like it. It's a thumbs up, but then there's like a person counter, and they're both at 0. But that's fine. That's actually fine because we're just finding them.
Right. So I think I need to be mindful of this weird little patch of light.
That is coming from the end of that curtain. Took the end in. Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Okay, these earrings are looking silly. I think my trademark earrings are not going to go, are they? Lily Allen.
Oh yeah.
1, 2.
Yeah, you're on.
So
Okay.
yeah. The page up. For those who are watching back at a later date, you can probably skip forward a few minutes. Well, not a few minutes. Sorry about this. Should edit it out, can't we?
I'm recording on the thingy.
Just gonna make a lot of scratch. Just gonna make a lot of noise. Professionals. To entertain me with some singing.
There's literally nobody watching.
They'll be watching when they're looking back, though, won't they? It'll be on as Okay, no. Yes. Pull this out. Okay. Hello.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's introducing.
Hello, welcome to Suffragette City Radio. I'm DJ Lippy.
I'm Sober Maid. It's episode 9.
Wow,
We've done this 9 times.
wow, 9 months.
Yeah.
9
God,
months.
yeah.
We've had a baby.
Well, I suppose we gave birth to our talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we've birthed something. It's gestated well, hasn't it?
I mean, something is it like the ugly child you're slightly disappointed in, or are we proud parents?
Oh no, I'm very proud. This is my pride and joy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the first thing we usually talk about is what feminist stuff we've been up to, and we've been up to
Our feminist talk.
yeah, putting on a talk.
Not that we've not been mentioning it for 4 months non-stop.
But yeah, we did it. We actually did it, pulled it off.
Yeah.
Just to
It's good, wasn't it?
just two feminists blagging it, and we pulled it off.
Yeah, we done it, didn't we?
Yeah.
Nobody knew we were blagging it.
No. I just followed the illusion. There was nothing about our amateur website or anything like that.
We are professional feminists.
But yeah, thank you so much to everybody who attended.
It was amazing.
And
thank you, just thanks for coming, because I didn't know if anybody would come.
Yeah, and thanks even if you couldn't make it. Thanks for all the amazing support we've got from other people who couldn't make it.
If you've watched it online or shared any of our stuff, we really appreciate everything, because we wouldn't be able to do it without you. So
it felt pretty special to be there. I don't know about you, but there's just something like when women come together. There were other men in the room, but it was mostly women. The ratio was heavily skewed.
Yeah.
which always affects space. But I like there's just something when women are coming together and speaking and just talking about things, just women talking about things. But there's something special about it.
Yeah, well, I think as much as anything, for me, it's the networking opportunities and the pub afterwards.
Yes, yeah.
Which sounds silly. It's not as being alcoholics. It's just like this is what it's about. It's about networking and people meeting each other. Well, that's how we met, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's like the one 10 months ago.
Yeah, October, and then November we launched our blog post.
Wow.
I remember that because I was away in the Highlands and we were doing it all remotely, and then we just we did it.
Done it, didn't we? Yeah. So what are we talking about this week?
Well, we're talking about how to put on a feminist talk and dating whilst feminist, because we thought we'd talk a lot about the reality of male violence against women, and we thought we'd try and lighten it up a little bit.
So we're going to talk about this.
Yeah,
love lives.
Yeah, but I wanted to ask if you've been up to any other feminist stuff as well. Just before we get cracking.
I feel like I have, but I can't remember what it is. It's just been a lot on, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I've got plans, but I won't tell you what the plans are yet. But they are very exciting.
I ended up speaking at a talk that the Mary Quayle Club put on.
Very good.
Last weekend. It was the invited Sheila Robotham, who's a really wonderful author. You should read some of her stuff. She was one of the organisers of the first Women's Liberation Conference in Oxford in 1970, and she's launched her autobiography, or relaunching her autobiography, and it was really cool. So the Mary Quayle Club, who are really great, you should check out their other events. They do lots of really great events.
All free, aren't they?
Yeah,
well?
all free, and they promote radical history. They're just really cool, and they got a bunch of different women to read out different parts of Sheila's book.
What kind of women?
All feminists.
Were you speaking at the?
Yeah, I literally just said that.
I always pay attention to what you say.
But yeah, it was really cool, and just kind of like hearing about all the women who were there and did stuff, and it just made me think, yeah, we need to do stuff. Well, so we did stuff, yeah.
Move this cat over.
Oh, no, she's not happy. Is it because you want to lean back?
I want to lean back. I'm trying to get. I feel like I'm not looking at the camera, but I should be. But it just feels really weird. I'm not used to YouTubing.
It's fine.
That's what we're doing, isn't it? Now we're YouTubers.
Oh God, are we? Influencers to our circle of 5 people.
How many people are watching now? Yeah, nobody. Right. So putting on a talk. This is my bit. This one, isn't it?
Yeah, go on.
So
don't crawl across the laptop.
The first thing you need to think about when you're putting on a talk is it's going to cost you quite a lot of money. Even if you do it on the cheap, we spent about £1,000 and we didn't pay any of the speakers, just for travel expenses, venues, things like that. So I would say if you can't afford to lose £1,000, don't put the talk on.
Yeah.
Don't do what we did. You'll be fine. Because you could lose the money. There's lots of things that can go wrong in a talk. So be mindful that it will cost you money, and if you really can't afford it, don't do it, because you'll just be too stressed. There's so many things that happen in an event, and you're constantly like, is this going to work? Is this going to work? So if you really don't have the money, don't do it.
I think our biggest outlays were probably venue and travel and accommodation.
Yeah, that's the main one, travel and accommodation. We're in England, so trains are just like £100 to get somebody back and forth in the country.
Yeah.
But I think another thing is, think about when you start, which we kind of thought about, but think about a theme and think about your target audience, because that's going to be key when you launch the event. Where you're going to launch it, what blogs are you going to post it on?
Yeah.
Our talk, we didn't really have an idea when we started out, did we?
No, it was kind of, it was one of those things where we had a sort of idea, but we wanted to be informed by our panel when we had our final panel. But then, in order to decide who we wanted to approach, we sort of had to have an idea of a theme. But they were like constantly feeding into each other as we went through.
It was kind of symbiotic, because you can't just invite anybody. I think one thing that we didn't want to do is there were so many great talks that have been put on recently, and they've all been based on trans rights, different themes. So you've had some about child safeguarding, you've had others about the effects on women's sports. And while these are all amazing, we just kind of wanted to do one that was just generally about feminism, because it's having a bit of resurgence, isn't it?
Yeah, that was like a bit more broader, radical in theme. And obviously, we're going to touch on gender identity and other things like that, because they're big issues in feminism at the moment. But we wanted it to be a broader feminist talk.
So we approached our speakers. Very polite email. We didn't give too much away. We just said we were looking to do it, didn't we?
Yeah. So we thought about our email pitch, and we wrote that. So it was pretty much quite a similar pitch that we sent out to our speakers, because it's time as well when you're working full time and doing feminism on the side. It's quite time consuming. So we did that to save time.
And we sent that out. And do you know what? I was really surprised actually. Most of the women we approached agreed to do it, didn't they?
Yeah.
And most of them didn't. We said basically with grassroots, we can't really offer you a fee, but we can pay for your accommodation and transport. And literally, most people like, yeah, I'll do that. Or if they couldn't, then they just said, sorry, I'm not busy that day.
Yeah.
There's a lot of will out there in the feminist community, which I was not aware of. People will just do it for.
Yeah, women want to, spread the ideas and speak with the women.
Yeah. So I'd say if you're going to approach people, don't be afraid of who you're going to approach. Approach, top end people, because
all they can do is say no.
Yeah, exactly. Just politely.
And we did get no's, but
no's. It's fine.
Yeah.
So what else? Tips with your guests. Okay, I would say this is one thing that I've learned. Invite one more speaker than you actually think you would need.
Yeah.
Because things happen, and guaranteed there'll be one person will pull out, and you will. If you've not got enough speakers, you're going to be panicking and rushing around. It's better to have one extra, because at the end of the day, if you've got 3 speakers, that should be enough, really, shouldn't it? It's bare minimum.
Yeah.
But be mindful of that. And another thing I would say that I think we've learned is I think you have a responsibility to inform them of, say, like if you're talking about trans rights, it's quite controversial. So I think that you should, if that's what you want to talk about, you should inform them of this, because if they have, people are in a tightrope at the moment, and I understand why some women wouldn't want to get involved with this. They might agree, but then they've got other fires in the oven, like they've got
irons in the fire.
They've got the irons in the fire. And don't think you can just like wing it and it'll be fine. I just think it'll be best to tell them, and that way, either if it is a problem for them, then they've got an opportunity to say, "Oh, sorry." But if you don't say anything and then they find out, I mean, I'd be like, "Well, due diligence, like surely they should check us out and find out." But I just think it's best to do it that way.
Yeah.
Because you can have problems, especially other guests as well. Sometimes feminism is a bit fractious, so tell them who else is speaking with them if you have them confirmed.
Yeah.
Just let them know.
And that can help if you're approaching other people as well. Like if you say, "Oh, like this cool person's doing it, and you're a cool person, you should do it as well." Yeah. And also, it just informs them of like what the tone. It gives them an idea of what the tone will be.
Yeah. What other things have you got to think about? Okay, the venue. Try and find yourself a venue.
You want somewhere where you've got to think about how many people you were expected to come, or like what's the ideal for how many people are going to come. You've got to think about accessibility as well. We want to be accessible to our sisters, so it's got to be somewhere easily reachable by public transport, and it's got to be somewhere that's wheelchair accessible as well.
So things to bear in mind. And also, if you are going to talk about trans rights, I think it's best to warn them if they're going to agree. Just like there might be some problems with it. Again, it's just good practice, I think. And if they are gonna be straight away like no, then I think rather than put all the effort into doing a talk and then at the last minute they're gonna pull out.
Yeah.
Would you that you'll put all this labour and all of this work and all of this money at this point? It might be making it more difficult to find a venue, but I just think that it's like a stitch in time. It'll make it more difficult at the beginning, but you'd feel better to know that it's secure.
Yeah.
That there's, that there might be some backlash, but they'll be aware of it.
Because some venues have been harassed for stuff.
Oh yeah.
And even but I would talk. It wasn't trans rights focused, but there's some of the speakers that we've had about the talk have spoken up about trans rights in the past. So we fully expected that the venue would get harassed.
Yeah, definitely. And another thing I think is really important is a venue for the after party.
Yeah.
Have somewhere to go when it's finishes for drinks, because, like I say, I think it's the most important part of the talk that we put on is socialising. And again, just approach bars like it's a bit when you've never done anything like that. You think, oh, but this is what they do for a living. Like they want people to come in and book out their rooms. We were fortunate enough to find somewhere where they just wanted a deposit.
Yeah,
it's frustrating because say like if you sold 100 tickets and 100 people are going to come to their bars, a lot of bars will try to charge you to bring them 100 customers. It's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah.
But try and find one that will give it you for nothing, because you're giving them a lot of custom. So be mindful of that when they start trying to charge you stuff.
Yeah,
that's what I do anyway. What else? What else have I got on here? So when it comes to, you've got your venue, you've got your speakers. Now you need to think about selling tickets. We use Eventbrite.
Yeah.
It's a good service. If you call them up, they'll speak to you, but it takes a lot of your profits.
Yeah.
If you can sell them on another way, if you have a website, do that, because it's a lot of money. When you look at your final payout and you're like, minus £100, that's £100 that you can spend somewhere else. But a good thing to know is it's free if you don't charge you for tickets. So if you decide that you have a budget and you want to do what's really accessible, then it's brilliant to use because there's no charge, no fee.
Okay.
It's a good service.
Yeah, and it provides you a platform. It's easy to use. I've bought so many tickets for other events from Eventbrite. Like, people use it for other events. So if you're selling your tickets through Eventbrite, people know how it works because they've probably bought the tickets through there.
And it's good because you can set a variety of ticket prices. So you can create. This is one thing I would suggest is, as well as create a support ticket for we started £18. Just for women. We used it for women who couldn't afford a ticket. If they approached us, we'd give them a free ticket. But if you are doing feminism, people will support you if they've got the money, and don't be afraid to put that in, because at the end of the day, people are just not buying a ticket.
Yeah, because we wanted to definitely make sure that all women could come if they wanted to, which is why we set up the tiered ticket system, so that concessions, standard, and supporter, so that we can make it accessible. Yeah.
So you've got your venue, you've got the thing all set up, ready to go. Now you need to sell the tickets.
Yeah.
So I know some women's groups have concerns about secrecy because some venues have been harassed. Depends what speakers you have. I know a lot of women have tried to sell tickets initially through private networks, but my feeling is, you know what? I just think just be public from the beginning. You're not doing anything wrong. I think the time for secrecy is over, to be honest. I think the tide is turning a little bit.
Yeah.
You're not shouldn't be ashamed of what you're doing, because what you're doing is fine, it's right, it's legal. You have the law on your side. Don't be intimidated. If you know that you've got a venue that is secure, then you're probably going to feel a bit more stable with that. Like, say, if you know all the if you've done the donkey work, then you're going to feel secure that everybody's happy with what's going to go ahead.
Yeah.
And what else with promotion? Okay, promotion wise, you're going to have to sell it on Facebook, Twitter, etc. You will ask, speakers can send out links for you, but they're not really going to do your job for you. They'll do a couple of tweets, but don't expect to get the traction that you want necessarily from doing that.
You've got to put the graft in.
You have to put graft in. So one thing I would suggest would be, if you know any big tweeters or people, approach them and ask them if they can tweet it out for you. When you're launching it, find blogs. I know Facebook has a lot of feminist groups and stuff. So you can send them all there. But again, if you're selling tickets for 5 weeks, remember, you can't just post every day on the same blog. People will get annoyed with you, won't they?
Yeah.
So try and think of cool ways to sell them.
Schedule it. Say that you'll do maybe blogs on this week, and maybe the week after you might actually do a bit of flyering, or the week, and then the week after that, schedule different things that you can do.
We had an article on the blog, and that seemed to do quite well, because every day we could tweet out a little thing, so it was keeping momentum up, and it's not just the same old ask. Also, something I would say is, don't be afraid to approach women. Again, women in the movement. If you want them to push it. But even if you're looking for some advice about putting on the event, just a general one.
Yeah, ask our sisters who've come before. One of the most valuable things you can do is ask.
And share knowledge.
Connect with older women.
I did this. I spoke to some of the women in the Resistor network, and they gave us brilliant advice. Thanks, Louise. Thanks, Rebecca. Hi. Call us. Give us a message. We'll give you some advice if you want to chat. I'm happy to chat.
That's partly why we're talking about this on the podcast as well, because if somebody is listening and thinking, I don't know if I can do this, or I want to join a group, and maybe I want to try and do this, that's why we're talking about it now, isn't it? Let's pass on that advice.
Yeah, do it. We kind of winged it all between us, and we didn't know if it would. It did work, but you can do it. Like, this is the thing, it's so accessible. We were just on Twitter a year ago, weren't we?
Yeah.
And then we came to an event and all this happened.
Yeah.
And like I say, they are so good for networking and meeting people. And aside from anything else, you know what? I feel like we've had a bit of a. It's hard. I think there was a little bit of a rush earlier on in the year, and we felt like we were building momentum and building steam. And I don't know. I felt there's been a bit of infighting and a bit of problems, to be honest. And I feel like a lot of women feeling a bit. We're feeling a little bit drained and burnt out, and all the infighting and stuff. And but after putting on this talk, I know a lot of women now are like proper buzzing and doing things, and it's getting things going again. So don't underestimate the power of a good event. It can do a lot. And like I say, it's not even things that you'll notice at the time. It's not about the amount of tickets that you sell or who comes to speak. It's the people who go off, and now they're in a little WhatsApp group, and then before you know it, they'll be like, that's how Man Friday started. That's how Scots Women. All these groups, they're not that big, The best ones, they've got like a few people in them, and that's all it takes. Just really like dedicated people.
The seeds that are planted. Like, my mum came, and I've not really talked to her about radical feminism. She knows I'm a feminist and like broadly agrees with me, but I don't think she really like knows what I get up to or whatever. And I invited her to come, and she came, and she found it really interesting, and she was like taking little notes, like to go away and Google stuff, because a lot of stuff that is like assumed knowledge for us and for the people in the radical movement, she like didn't really know about. So she went away and did some research as well, and then she's fallen down rabbit holes. And she came up to me the other day, and she goes, "We've just been watching a documentary about these incels. Have you heard of them?" And I was like, "Oh man,
where do I begin?"
Yeah. Like, we're worth like a term peak misogyny. I don't know, but like I think my mum's hitting that at the
peak
moment.
Mans. That's what I call it. Peak man. Yeah.
And I think she's hitting that. Like, she's realising this kind of broader pushback against women's rights is happening, which is like what radicalised us. But yeah, incels, the laws around rape, CPS, prosecution rates are so down at the moment. Mm-hmm. All the other topics we've basically talked about on this podcast. Like, she's realising about all of them, and is now coming up to me and being like, "Have you seen this?
I should get us listen to the podcast." Anything else? Okay, one last thing is, we did this a little bit late in the game because we should have thought about doing it sooner. But if you have like a portion of if you've got a big enough venue and you can afford to have some tickets set aside, use them for, like, I don't know, say like you're doing one about safeguarding or schools. Think about finding all the safeguarding leads in the local schools, local politicians, change makers, people who have actual power and authority. Invite them to the talk, give them a free ticket. Because if they do come and they want to learn more, then brilliant. That's what it's all about.
That's
really.
An influencer right
there
that you've invited. Yeah.
So take a bit of time to do some Googling, because it's all publicly available, and find the people who have the power to make changes in your local area. And again, last little bit, I've just got a note here. Time to sell tickets, 5 weeks. We think it's a good time. We did it in 4, didn't we?
Yeah, and I think we could have launched a week earlier is what we concluded.
I mean, you could have a longer lead in time, but I think it's just good to have like a bit of focus in that 5 weeks, a bit of urgency, because otherwise you could be meandering on, and then more time for things to go wrong as well. So anything else to add?
I don't think so. I think you've covered everything there.
I mean, we should write an article about this, really, shouldn't we?
Yeah, put it all in like a how-to
guide.
Make a scene,
Make a scene. But I'll add. We always say I'll add things in the description, and we never do, but we will add it this time. With WP UK, I think, did a little guide on how to put on an event.
Yeah,
it's really good, basics and stuff. And I'll find some other bits and bobs.
Would you do it again?
Yeah.
So would I.
Are we doing it again?
Possibly. We're plotting.
Maybe. But yeah, it's really good. To be honest, I just feel so happy because I was getting a bit down. It's so hard to do this and to running a blog and a podcast and events. Like, it's just draining.
Whilst you're aware of the ongoing misogyny that's happening as well, which is just like draining in and of itself.
And getting kicked off the Twitter again.
Yeah.
But I'm not bothered about. But I feel like doing this, it's proper. It's picked me up. Do you know what I mean? I was a bit like, and now I'm like, right, I'm gonna do this full time. I'm gonna become a professional feminist. I'm gonna do an event. I'm gonna do that. I've got other things in my head in the pipeline. So yeah, don't be afraid. Just go and do it.
Yeah. Professional feminist.
Feminist.
Professionals.
Yeah. So that's my part of the show. What are you going to talk about?
Great. going to talk about dating for a bit of light relief.
Yeah,
And I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
it's interesting, you know, dating whilst feminist. And I mean, I said to you, Lippy, that I thought we should do it. And yeah, we could have like a really radical like analysis of dating, but really it's just so that I can like spout off about all of my boy drama.
Yeah, tell me about your latest.
And just like justify having an audience
Yeah.
for my wah.
Yeah. No, well, I'm sure that there's. Tell me more.
But I've got some facts and stats as well.
Oh,
You know
you've always
how
got your
much
facts and stats. Are we doing a quiz?
Yeah, well, a little bit of a quiz. So I don't know if you saw this link going around, but apparently it has been shown that unmarried and childless women are happier and live longer.
Yep, I know that one.
Yeah, they do. I think most of that data though is based on heterosexual women or women in heterosexual relationships.
Yeah.
But so I think by all accounts, women in relationships with women report higher happiness than with relationships with men. But you know, there's a common denominator there.
What's the thing? What's the elephant in the room?
It's men. The answer is men.
Yeah.
But oh well, I'm sorry that this isn't about your dating life, but the cats aren't happy.
Male violence.
The lady cat has just gone because the male cat got territory.
I know he's quickly sniffing where she was sitting.
How long, on average, do you think couples date for before they get married?
3 years.
4.9. 4.9 years. How many relationships do you think a person has before they get married?
7.
That's not bad. Men will have on average 6 relationships. 2 will last more than a year.
Yeah.
And women will have 5 relationships on average. But I was going to get some stats about marriage, but then we're kind of getting into the whole thing about the institution of marriage.
Well,
that's a whole other topic.
Yeah, I mean, we're in the modern day, aren't we? It's Tinder and all the modern day, you know. Yeah.
Well, there are
in the city, but not really that glamorous, is it?
No, it's not. It's not. You watch I watched Sex and the City, and it gave me such an unrealistic idea of how glamorous my dating life would be. It has not turned out that way. But there are 7 million UK residents on dating sites at the moment.
Yeah.
And 1 in 3 relationships start online.
Yeah, it used to be. I remember my mate ages ago started internet dating, and she's proper fit. And like we all just like it was just a bit weird. We were like, why do you need to go on all these internet dates?
Yeah, it was a bit
like desperate or something.
Yeah.
And then
run out of options, so you go online.
Yeah. But then I think with Tinder and all that stuff, I think Tinder was the first one I used because I just couldn't be arsed, you know, like with Plenty of Fish and all them ones. You have to write your profile. You have to think about child and all these questions.
You want a box of cereal? What box of cereal would you be?
Shut up. Yeah. Cereal. I don't know. So, but then I got on Tinder, and then like Tinder's a whole thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think the smartphone has made us much more accessible to each other, and in some ways that's great because you know you can do feminism, you can put on an event, if you want to go on casual dates, it's great, but also maybe it's devalued the date. I don't know.
I mean, there's different rules with dating on a Tinder. Like I find, like it's all based on looks. I don't often like to talk very much beforehand because sometimes you talk for ages and you think they're ace, and then you meet them and they're just like, oh, cringe. And other people, you just like, yep, nope, and you meet them, and in real life, you really like them.
Yeah.
And also, there's a strange, weird thing which I can't understand about internet dating. It's like if you don't speak, so like if you meet somebody, you talk a little bit, and then you wait 3 weeks and try and message them again, they will never message you back.
Yeah.
Like what happens? It's like I fancied you 4 weeks ago, but obviously I don't understand the etiquette behind this thing. What I mean. Is everybody buddying up or something? Like, is everybody getting into relationships really quickly all the time? I don't understand why.
It seems so.
Why nobody talks to me or not. I don't go on very often. I can't be bothered with it all.
Oh well, I had my first Friday off in months last Friday, and I was like, I really want to go on a date, and so I hit the apps hard.
Okay.
All day at the office.
Yeah, you were saying like, I want to go on a date.
I did no work, and then Hinge told me off because it was like you've used all your likes today. Don't get any more likes. Yeah. I did not get a date on that Friday.
Oh no!
But I was reading the thing. I thought it was quite interesting. So there's been a change in the dating landscape because of online dating, but the gendered expectations we still have are still there a bit, with men initiating conversations and things like that. And when women initiate, or when they make the first move, they receive 15% less communication than if the guy initiates first. And I thought that was interesting. It made me think of this app Bumble. I don't know if you've heard of it.
I know. It's not the one where you've run into people, is it?
No, that's happened. Oh, well, don't worry. We'll have a breakdown of the dating apps.
Okay. you sound like you've done your research very thoroughly for this episode.
Oh, God, yeah, it's only like 29 years of research. No, people don't date as newborns, but you get what I'm saying. So Bumble is the one where I think it was started, actually, I'm just thinking this off the top of my head, by one of the women who was on the original development team for Tinder. And it's like Tinder, but when you match, so the way that Tinder, for some of you who may have been happily married for years, you may not know what Tinder is, and it is an app on your phone, and you have a picture of somebody, and that's their profile, and you can have a couple of pictures and a couple of lines in their bio, and you swipe right if you like them and left if you don't, and if you swipe left, then they just go and the next profile comes up. And if you both have swiped right, so you swiped right on someone's profile, they swipe right on you, then you match and you can message, and you can only message once you've both matched. Yeah. And I quite liked this when I first started using Tinder, because it meant that I wasn't getting unsolicited messages from like 42-year-old men, which has happened before. So it was nice. I was only ever getting messages from people that I was a bit interested in. Yeah. But that's not a perfect filter mechanism, because you still get weird and creepy messages.
No, Tinder's got a bit over hijacked now, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just like, it's a bit...
And Bumble works very similarly. So you have your profile with the pictures. So it's still kind of based on looks. Swipe right, swipe left. And when you both match, you can send a message. But on Bumble, the woman has to send the first message. Yeah. Otherwise, the match expires. It expires in 24 hours. If the woman hasn't messaged, then the match expires. You can never message them again, and they're gone. They're gone as the ether. Okay.
Sounds a bit extreme.
But I think it's quite, because it means you don't have matches sat in your inbox for ages. I
suppose so.
Unless you send a message, like you have to make that first move.
I guess it galvanises you to do it, because I sometimes, if I'm horny, I'll just go on it bored, like, oh, you just drunkenly going through and just like next one.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it makes you think, oh, do I actually want to go out and meet this person, or just it's not a computer game, is it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I quite liked Bumble. I say like, the caliber's gone down recently. It could be below the caliber of men, but it has. But the caliber's gone down recently. Yeah. But I liked it because it was just a novelty. The woman messages first. That was just a novelty of it. But it was like, you were getting more interesting guys on Bumble than you were on Tinder. And it's kind of like, I suppose, if they're buying into this mechanism, and even though it's a novelty where the woman messages first, there's a good chance that they probably buy into other values. That they don't have those gendered expectations. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, the caliber of that is going down. Should I run down all the apps that I've ever used? Is this going to be?
This could take a while.
I know.
Is there any? Okay.
I feel a bit sad.
Is there any? Are there any? Hinge. How do you find Hinge?
I quite like Hinge. I've had some really nice dates off Hinge. Yeah, I like it, and you get to see a bit more of a person's profile. So Hinge is not like, you have the like and the not like, and you can only message each other if you both matched. But someone can send you like a like if they like you. Yeah,
I find it's quite good because I'm bi, so I have my settings open to men and women, and it's really hard to find decent matches of women on Tinder or something. So it's like bi-curious straight women, or women trying to find a threesome with their boyfriend, or women who have 5 o'clock shadows. But Hinge actually seems to have actual lesbians on it, because you match and then you'll talk and then you'll swap numbers, sort of thing, which is good because if you I think it annoys me that people are on these dating apps that just don't want to ever meet up. It's like, you're just trying to. Are you with somebody and you're just trying to prove that you still got it, or like, it's just time wasting, isn't it? It's wasting everybody's time.
Because I'm very much, if we match and you've not sent me anything sexually explicit and your grammar isn't awful, then I'm very much like, okay, let's have a drink. As you say, like, you don't know until you met someone and like the chemistry. But then I found that, like, because I ask people out all the time, and then so on these dates I go, they're like, oh, I'm so glad that you like suggested going for a drink, and I'm like, really? Is it still that unusual?
Do they not do that though?
For women to just be like, do you want to get a drink sometime?
Well, isn't it just be a grown up? Why are you here if you don't want to go out? And it's only a drink as well. You're not. It's not. I think people sometimes think like a date is like you've got to spend all night with them, which You don't,
Oh
do
my
you?
God, no.
You just go for a drink, and that's the new standard of understanding, though, isn't it? I think some people don't get it. It's like, you just meet them for one drink.
Yeah.
And then you kind of make up an excuse to be like, oh, I've got to go. We'll do it again sometime.
Yeah.
Never speak to you ever again.
Yeah. I've not really gotten to the feministy parts of it.
No, we're just giving a lowdown.
We're just chatting about dating. But yeah, because it's like sometimes it is hard when, and I'm not for a moment going to pretend that it's harder to be a straight woman than it is to be lesbian. But when you are aware of male violence against women, like I'm a feminist, I'm painfully aware of the patriarchy, of these structures.
Yeah.
Men are the worst.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Some of them.
Yeah.
Are also very, very sexy.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Yeah.
It's an awful situation.
Sexy dickheads.
Yeah.
They're not all dickheads.
No, they're not. Of course they're not. Because it's been aware of men as the oppressors, socioeconomic class, but then being like, oh, they're so fit. They are so fit.
Is it making them more fit because they're like forbidden food? You know what I mean? Like, really bad. They're all bad boys. Or is it just like, it's making it hard for me to trust anything that anybody says, and I'm just skeptical of
it. Makes me very skeptical. It makes me really skeptical now. And somebody in a Facebook group that I'm in, somebody posted like, and I thought this was really interesting. What stuff that now, since you've been more aware of radical feminist theory, what stuff were you not so bothered about before, but will now be a red flag?
Yeah.
And I thought one for me was, previously if a man on his dating profile had said like, oh, feminist or social justice or whatever, I would have been like, ooh, a sensitive man. Yeah. And now I'm like, oh.
Yeah. No, next.
Yeah, it's because if somebody needs to proclaim how loudly he is a feminist, it's deeds, not words.
Yeah. No, I don't trust anybody even on the left now. I'm like, no. I'm looking for like a plumber. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh my God, I wish I could get it up. I should have thought about getting this up soon. There's like an old.
I'll get it up. I'll get it up.
You know the one
I've got it on my phone.
It's like data yard swiller.
Yeah.
I've got it on his man.
I've got it on my phone because I was looking at it today.
But it's so true. It's so true. But I kind of like I sort of drop hints that I'm feminist as well. But then on dates, it's quite interesting to see their reactions.
I think you should just have it up there on, like, somehow have a signal on your thing. Because to be honest, it's just cutting out the assholes. Can you be asked with somebody who's going to have a problem with you?
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Like, I'll tell you what it was with me. I was on the Tinder, and I was talking to this guy, and he had a bit of a beard. He looked kind of hot, and he was like, "What's been up to the weekend?" I was like, "Oh, I went to a feminist talk." He's like, "Oh, what are you speaking?" I said, "What policy pipe?" He's like, "Are you a transphobe then?" And I was like, "Bye."
So he knew who Posey Parker was?
Yeah, he knew Posey Parker was.
That's interesting.
So I was like, that's going to be my next profile picture. I should have got one when she was in.
What, just Posey Parker?
Just me and a selfie with Posey Parker. Just because because I am dating men and women. A lot of it's a practice thing in the LGBT community, and I just can't be asked with somebody who's we're not gonna. There's too many fish in the sea, and there's got to be a way for me to filter people out. So that's a good way to do it, isn't it? Yeah. Shortcut. But I didn't do that. I don't like dating apps. I haven't been on a dating app date for like 4 years.
Really?
Yeah. No.
God, I quite like dating.
Yeah.
But it's also sometimes I just get like dating fatigue. But I quite like, getting dressed up, being excited to meet somebody, those butterflies, like when you sit next to them, and if you like, because instantaneously if you fancy them.
Yeah.
And then if you do fancy them, it's like, you sit next to each other and you're a bit close, and it's like, his arm just brushed my arm. He's come round, he's sitting closer. Like, I love all that.
Yeah, I just can't be asked with it. I just got to an age.
Right.
No, I don't know. Sorry, I'm not. This is going to be a bit of a like therapy thing, but like I'm just searching for a little bit more, and all this it just feels quite shallow for me when you're on dating apps, and it's not as much as anything else. It's just the admin of like you have to arrange so many dates because
a lot of admin.
There's so many dates where you go on and you like you say you get yourself all dressed up and then get there and instantly like no, and you're like what the fuck? Why have I just done this?
Yeah, my Thursday night's gone.
You know what I mean? Yeah, and it does make me laugh because I do find it a bit funny because you're constantly going, why won't men just leave me alone? Leave us alone. They can all just, and then literally the next day they're like,
I want attention.
like my date just cancelled on me, and I'm like, you tell the universe you want men to leave you alone, and they leave you alone, And then you're like, why are they all doing? It's like, well, it's maths, isn't it?
Are you giving me dating advice right here?
Yeah, a little bit of dating advice.
I mean, to be fair, he cancelled on me half an hour before a date. Like, that's crap behaviour.
Oh, it's well, what did you expect? But this is the thing. I think the problem is with dating apps is that it makes it very pick up, put down, and it's very easy to be dismissive of people, just ghost them, you know.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it's not very. I don't know. I just want to be. I just quite like meeting people in real life, but then it depends what job you have and where you work, because you don't always.
Yeah, I
meet
find it
people
hard to meet
in
people
real life. And then you've had if you've got a social group and then you've ended up like shagging all your friends, then
I don't do that, and I don't see co-workers.
yeah, well, I was good, but then after years and years and years of being in a friendship group, it's
Shagged your way around.
no, I haven't, but yes.
It's interesting what you said about meeting in real life, because the last time I got asked out, it was like 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
Got asked out in real life by somebody I was sat next to at this comedy night, and I knew some people doing the comedy thing, and he knew some people doing the comedy thing, and he was Canadian, so it's like a bit of a different culture. In America and Canada, they're a bit more
lash
forward.
people out, don't they?
Yeah, it's like dating is like a national pastime for them.
Yeah.
And so he was like, but it was just actually really nice and refreshing to be asked out face to face.
Yeah.
And because we got chatting, he was like, "So do you have a boyfriend?" And me, just trying to be funny. Yeah, I don't even know why I'm such a dickhead, but I patted down my pockets. I was like, "No, not on me."
You're such a geek.
I know.
You're such a geek.
I know. And he laughed, and he was like, "I was wondering if you maybe wanted to go out sometime."
Oh,
Yeah,
because you're Canadian. Oh, how could you keep a straight face?
And I was like, "Yeah, that sounds really fun."
Yeah.
So we went out, and I had a nice time dating for a bit. It kind of fizzled out, but he had such a hot body. But this brings me to another thing, like issues that you have when dating. Now, this is just, I didn't want this to turn into me just slagging off men.
Yeah. Well, this is literally that's what the podcast is about, isn't it? Fine.
Suffragette City Radio, slagging,
pouring shade on flats. Ones with dicks, obviously.
But he
making sense.
he wasn't a great kisser.
Oh no, end, no, never
And
end.
I'm like,
No.
man, you're in your 30s.
Oh, no one taught you how to kiss
Can
yet.
you still kiss like that?
Oh.
And then I thought, well, I didn't say anything to him.
No. Well, you can't teach someone how to kiss. That's the thing. It's not.
Just all these women are just like not saying anything to him, and I'm sending him on to the next woman.
Yeah.
Still kissing like that.
What's your responsibility? It's your responsibility to teach you to kiss. Like, women are not the teachers, are you? Like, we're not. I was going to say we're not your mum, but that's a terrible analogy. Yeah, I don't know. I find it. I think just in general, men are getting worse, because each time I've gone out and I've tried to pull, something really creepy and weird happens, and like I'm like, oh, I don't know if it's to become a feminist or what, but like past 3 times I went out. So one time I went out, so I was this really fit guy, and my mate went to the toilet. I was like, I'm going to talk to him, and he was like, look, he was walking over us, and I was like, so I just started, just make some excuse about something, talk to him. And he just sort of started looking at me. I was like, oh, he's a bit rude, but whatever. And then I was like, fine. And I was like, so my mate came back and was like, oh, it's really awkward, And then he spent the rest of the night, him and his mate, staring at us, like really staring at us. And I was like, right, brilliant. And the next time I went out, I went to Temple Bar in Manchester. Do you know it? It's like really small, it's underground, and it's like an old underground station.
Okay.
So it's very small, like 1-room bar. So they have like a gender neutral toilet.
Right.
I went to the toilet, and this guy, like, I come out of the cubicle. This guy who was sitting with
Is it multi-stalls, more than one stall?
Yeah, more than one stall, but
not
it's unisex,
Yeah.
not single occupancy. So I come out, and the guy just came through the door, and I'm washing my hands, and he's talking to me, and it's a little bit awkward, because I'm like,
I've just
had
a slash. I don't want to wash my hands. I don't want to.
And then, so I finished washing my hands, and I went out, and he just followed me out, and it was just like weird, like, why did he follow me into the toilet to try and...
If he wasn't going to use the toilet, he followed you straight out.
Follow me into the toilet to talk to me in a confined space. And then there was another weirdo guy who I thought, he's really hot, and he kept staring at me, like probably like making me feel awkward, staring at me for ages. And I was like, I think he felt like, because we give each other a little clock, like little look, and he was just staring at me for ages, and I was just like, fucking min. And then I went out for my birthday, And I actually pulled this guy, and I don't know why. He was a psychopath. And he looked like the caddy, you know, Line of Duty.
Okay.
He looked like the caddy, and he had a proper fit body, and he was an ex-squaddy though. And basically, I spent the entire of my birthday trying to placate his like wounded male ego for some reason that I just kept offending him. And I'm like, that was my birthday night out. Why was I doing that?
Yeah.
And so basically, I'm just like, I am trying really hard to hold on to the last vestiges of my heterosexuality, but they're not making it easier for me. And I'm just done. I'm not doing it anymore. Just can't be arsed.
Fair enough.
Would you like to hear my joke?
Go on.
Because you know this joke, but they don't know this
I've
joke.
probably forgotten it. But go on.
What is the difference between a radical feminist and a lesbian?
Go on.
About 6 months. So yeah, I just think you should all just leave your husbands and become lesbians.
Oh, I don't have a husband to leave.
Easy to do that, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know. I know political lesbian's a bit of a hot topic, and I'm not one moment suggesting that
Lesbianism is a choice.
Yeah, exactly. But I think there's a lot more bisexuality out there in women than is recognised, and that
you can choose to de-center men from your life.
You can do. And I don't know what though. I think if you are straight, like straight, I think that like argument is really difficult for women, because I just feel like, are you telling them that they need to be celibate for the rest of their lives? Like,
a girl's got needs.
Exactly.
I've got needs.
You can't.
Believe me.
You can't. That's not fair. And then so lesbians are fine. They can have like a normal functioning life, but they like straight women have to like just not have sex.
Yeah.
And I also find like there are good men out there. I think we constantly reiterate that we have problems with men as a class.
Yes.
So if that's the case, what you're saying is that individuals are not the problem here.
No.
You know, and there's lots of individuals.
Cancel
Good men.
half an hour before.
Cancel.
Oh, when they're bad kisses.
Oh, bad kisses.
I dated the guy once who kept texting his mum.
Well, he was kissing you.
No, that would have been something else.
That'd be a story, wouldn't it?
No, but it was just on the day, and like he did it the first time.
How did he know that he was? Was he telling you or just texting my mum?
He said, "I'm texting." Well, the first time he said, "I'm texting my mum to let her know." Because so we met for this date, and we both, because there's sometimes I don't like giving out my number before I've met somebody, so we just message through the app still until I've met them, then I give them my number. And then, but sometimes these apps are just really glitchy. They're just glitchy.
Yeah, no, I do that. My mate's always one for that. She just gets the phone number straight away,
and the messages don't come through. So me and this guy, like the messages haven't come through, and we both thought the other had stood the other up. So we were like waiting for a while. Like I was waiting, I thought he stood me up, he thought I stood, but we were like just waiting in different parts of the train station to see each other. Eventually, we find each other, and it's like, oh, you've not stood me up. Oh, you've not stood me up. Very nice. We walk into the place where we're going to have our date. He gets his phone out. He says, "I'm just going to let my mum know that like." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And you know, he'd moved back with his mum, so he's just letting her know that he was coming back. Yeah, you know, I moved back with my mum. It's like it's what the plight of our generation. Later on in the day, you know, I pop to Lou. I come back. He's on his phone. You know, people answer the phones or whatever when you're waiting. And I made a joke because I'm delightful company on a date, by the way. If anybody's interested, I'm delightful company.
MMM Publications at gmail.com.
But I made a joke. I came back. He was on his phone. I made a joke. I said, "Oh, he's texting you up again." And he goes, "Yeah." And I go, "Oh, okay,
that's nice."
Yeah. So I mean, there was that. Maybe he's just close to his mum. I don't know.
That's not a bad thing. I mean, you know, it's better than he hates his mum. Have you ever dated anybody who hates their mum?
That would be a red flag, actually. Talking about like.
Well, lessons learned in my life. Don't date anybody who hates their mother and tells you about how much fat she is.
It's another. I'm actually thinking as well. Another kind of red flag that I take now that I'm a radical feminist as well. If they slag off all their exes, like they don't have one nice ex, and I get you don't always want to be mates with your exes. I don't think I'm good mates with any of mine.
I think that's okay. I mean,
but I'm not going to slag them off like they were good people. I was with them for a reason. Or some of them were good people, some of them weren't.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm not going to slag them all off because it's not like that. And if he's slagging off all his exes or all his exes were crazy, I'm like, there's a common denominator there.
How's he going to talk about you when you finish the relationship? You know, like that is a red flag for me.
And the chances are, if you're calling them crazy, like, are they just responding emotionally to your shitty behaviour? Because that's like perfectly reasonable.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Do you know another good red flag?
go on.
Well, this is not a red flag. This is a test that I've heard. But I've not used it. When you start meeting a guy, and there's an opportunity, something will come up. Just tell him no. It doesn't. It could be a little thing. It could be a big thing. Make sure you're in a public place. But if he's asked for something, just say no. Don't give a reason. Yeah. Just say no. And see how he responds. Because if he gets really angry with you, double motherfucker. Like that's it. That's a red. That is the red. That is the ultimate red flag. It's that
respect your boundaries.
Well, respect your boundaries, and don't give in excuses. Just, and it's really, 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 really hard as a woman to just say no. Yeah. Full stop. But just say no.
It is hard. And I was reading. I didn't want to get into like male violence. It's supposed to be like upbeat, but there has been a 382% increase in crimes related to online dating in the past 6 years.
Wow. Is that because of the rise in online dating?
I think that's just law of averages. You know, men are violent to women. They're going to find ways to be violent to women, whether we're online, whether we're offline. But I thought that was interesting. But this, I've been messaging this other guy, and he's just saying like, wait, so this has gone from like being radical feminist analysis to be like, Katie, listen to my latest boy drama.
Go on.
And I just said, okay, well, you know, let me know if you're free for drinking, like a chat, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, hey, sorry, you never replied. I can't do drinks tonight or tomorrow. And I didn't actually ask if he was free the next day. So his reading comprehension is not very good. And he also said, to be honest, I was just looking for someone to pie me in the face like a circus act. Ha, ha, ha. And I'm like, what does that mean?
Is it some weird sexy thing?
I know. Funny. Like I wanted to be like, okay, weird king.
I just be like, right, unfollowed.
Well,
what did you say to him?
I kind of.
Did you give him anything back?
I did. Oh, and his message. I've not actually read his message back since we did the podcast. I'll read that properly later. I don't want to do it live.
Let's see what's he said.
So I said, I'm not free tonight. I said, I don't know about pie in the face. I said, I mean, if that's your kink, then cool. I said, I was just after a date and see what happens. And he said, fair enough. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know why I just said that. Okay. But I'm sure it takes time before something like that happens anyway. I don't really know what I'm doing. Haha.
Oh, that's okay.
Maybe he's just bumbling along.
Yeah, he's probably just said something and then he's like, why the fuck did I say that? What does that mean?
Well, my Wednesday.
Or maybe it is because he did come back and say, it's a bit too early for that kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh. I don't, like, is he really into clowns? I don't know.
Oh, that's a bit of a thing, isn't it? And if you do get him and he's into clowns, you're like, do I look like a clown? Am I clown vibes?
How about that for a review?
It's a very jazzy shirt you're wearing.
But my Wednesday was spent actually I messaged this guy in Hinge, like we matched, and his thing said that he had like a great body, and his thing said, first drink, because with Hinge it has prompt questions that you can answer. Yeah. And one of his prompt questions was, first drinks on me if ... and you making the profile for like the rest. And so his prompt question was, first drinks on me if, and he put, you vote Tory. And he put, because on Hinge you can say what your political leanings are.
Okay.
And he put like conservative in his political leanings.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Well, but you know, it's a filter mechanism for him, you know.
Yeah,
you know.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But I just messaged him saying like, I don't vote Tory, but you've got a great body.
Is this the guy who keeps sending you pictures of his feet?
No, well, he asked, but it turns out he has a foot fetish, so I read my messaging, and then he was like, what's your Instagram? And I never usually move it off the app, because I don't like people, like, until I've met them, but I was like, I'm having a bit of fun here, and like, I'm very bored at the office, so I moved it to Instagram, and then it turned out he had a foot fetish, and I did send him a picture of my feet, and then he ignored me.
He's just collecting feet, isn't he?
Well, to be honest, it was quite funny though, like as like an anthropology experiment. It was quite fun.
Okay, so you're doing anthropology experiments. No way. We know that this is not what you are doing.
No, I mean, like he lives like quite a few cities over. We were never going to go for a day, but I was like, this is a bit of fun on a rainy day at the office.
I've had some. I used to have a fun game of trolling dickheads on Tinder.
That's kind of a bit what I was doing with him, but then I did just send him a picture of my feet.
Yeah, keep this one going. Yeah, you get good stories out of internet dating, don't you?
Yeah. I used to have a little Tumblr called like Freaks on Tinder or something like that, where I'd screenshot like back in the early days of Tinder. I was an early convert, an early adoptee of Tinder, and I remember somebody like just because again to go over what Tinder is like, you can't message until you both swipe right, and that is a filter of itself. But then sometimes the person you've matched with might be messages.
Yeah.
And sometimes these guys will send you sexually explicit stuff in the first message. One of them was like, I've got something for you to suck. And I was like, well, I'd rather be sucking on the sweet nectar of gender equality.
Oh.
I know. And another one said, like, get on your knees and I'll give you a present. And I was like, oh, is it The Vindication of Rights of Woman by Mary Wollstonecraft? Because I love that.
Did you respond back to you?
No, way over everybody's head. All it did was amuse me.
Put that on my blog, that.
I know. But yeah, but I've been dating a good guy recently. I quite like him. But he was like nice to me, and I just blurted out in his face, "You don't need to look after me.
I'm an independent woman."
I know. It's because I told him I just had like a couple of things going on in my personal life, and like it was my dad's anniversary recently. My dad died when I was a teenager, and so he said like the risk of asking you a personal question, like you don't talk about your dad much.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, it's because like he died when I was 18. It's like it's not a secret. It's just I don't. Because like when you're just catching up on chit chat, because he's not around, I don't have like anecdotes. It's not like, oh, my mum and dad that did that last week, or I saw my mate, or I spent time with my dad. I mean, I didn't because he's not here, so I just don't speak about him.
Yeah.
But it's not like a secret. And then he was like, oh, I'm sorry that happened to you. And it's like, you know, like it's fine. It's not fine, but it's fine.
It's fine. It's fine not to be fine. It's fine. It's just fine.
But he was like, I'm sorry, and he put his hand on my knee, and I was like, you don't need to look after me. And I don't know why I said that. I don't know why. And he was being so nice, and I was just like,
I'm independent.
Yeah, too much feminism. I don't know. Can
Yeah.
you have too much feminism?
It depends how many men you want to have sex with, because I think at a certain point it just ruins them for you. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. I think that that there's a sad truth in the world, as I realise, is if you are really independent and you don't need anybody to look after you, then nobody will come and look after you.
I remember you saying that.
Men really like vulnerable women.
Yeah.
Whenever I've got into a relationship, it's always been usually after I've had like a traumatic accident. I get in quite a lot of accidents.
Yeah, you come off your back a lot.
I come off my bike a lot, and I should not have one, but I do. Or when something bad in my life has happened, I'll get myself into a relationship, and I've always tried to be a very independent woman, and it's almost like you don't want to be needy, because that's the narrative, isn't it? Like you can't be needy around men because they don't like it. Cool girl.
But I'm guilty of that for sure.
But then whenever had something really traumatic happen to me and I've just been very vulnerable, then I find myself in a relationship and I'm like, it's a bit, men like weak women. Who knew?
Yeah.
Who knew?
No, I'm thinking
obviously
about
everybody, but I mean,
one of my mates is married. She was telling me about like she had a bit of an argument with her husband a few months ago. They were in a rough patch, and he said to her, "Why can't we just go back to how it was at this time, a couple of years ago in their life?" And she was like, "What? When I had all this stuff going on, and basically all that we did was like I'd come round to yours and cry, and you just got to look after me and cook me tea, and you were really, really happy then." What? Because I was in a bad place, and you got to look after me.
Yeah.
But that's you want to go back to that?
Yeah.
But yeah, interesting. Anyway, should we wrap it up?
Yeah, we've talked.
This wasn't supposed to be about like my therapy, but
if you have any suggestions,
or if you're single,
make one at mmpublications@gmail.com. If you have any embarrassing dating stories you want to share with us, we'd love to hear them, and we won't tell everybody on the internet them unless
you give us permission.
Yeah, maybe that's your kink. I don't know.
Yeah. No, any dating tips for me?
Dating tips, yeah.
Because you're with someone now.
Yeah.
We don't have to talk about it, but it's fine. But like, I need the tips more than you. Is what I'm saying.
No.
Please send me tips.
Tits or tips?
Tips.
Yeah. Send Naomi some tips.
Yeah, we've come to the end. We have our little card game.
Yeah.
Women Who Dare.
And it's your go now, isn't it?
It is my turn. So it's just a deck of cards full of cool women with little biographies on the back. Katie won it at we said each other's names, and we try and stick to students. People know who we are.
Everyone knows who I am. It's
DJ Lippy.
Oh, today's
I spent so long bleeping out your name on that Angela Rayner's.
I know. You can do it again. No, I am coming out longer term because I'm going to become a professional feminist. Yeah. At least know what my name is,
but DJ Lippy won the card game.
Yes, DJ Lippy won. Yeah.
At the quiz, so we've got, and we were just talking about it today. We did pick it out at random, but serendipity. It always seems to be someone we've been talking about. We pull out that card. It's because we were talking about Frida Kahlo then. pulling out Frida Kahlo, and we were talking about Martina Navratilova just earlier today. I was
She's good. She's good, isn't she?
So she's an American citizen but born in Czechoslovakia in 1956. Much has been written about the qualities it takes to be a champion: superior talent, dedication, concentration, perseverance, nerve. Less has been written about what it takes to be a champion athlete who openly acknowledges being other than heterosexual, because Martina Navratilova is still blazing that path. And however many stories there might be about creating from a temperamental Suffragette kid one of the great modern legends of sport, few could outdo Navratilova's for colour, sheer, magnitude of achievement and heart. A native of Prague, Czechoslovakia, and now an American citizen, Navratilova was ranked the #1 female tennis player in the world for 7 consecutive years, beginning in 1978, and has won more titles than any other female tennis player in history, including an incredible 9 Wimbledons, the last in 1988. In recent years, Navratilova has lent more of her energies to speaking out on social issues, such as society's sexual double standards regarding the Magic Johnson HIV story. Now, I think Serena Williams has surpassed that now. I'm trying to think when these cards were published, but still an incredible woman. Like, wow.
I think it's just her activism as much as anything else. Yeah, she just has a wonderful way about her, doesn't she? Yeah, she's really
warm and cool.
So,
if you've got any suggestions for us, stuff you want us to cover, if you want to write for us, any suggestions on any topics, send us an email, mmpublications@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Follow us on Facebook, Insta, Tumblr,
and we'll see you next week.
Ciao.
Off. End.